Hi, you're listening to Jen. Nope. Hi, I'm Jen. You're listening to. Sorry. All right, here we go. Hi, I'm Jen Phanomrat, and you're listening to Us People Podcast with Sabia Rocks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Sabia Rocks, and today I have a cook, host, video producer, and co-founder at JustEatLife. So let me welcome Jen to the show. Jen, thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. It's actually a peaceful day here today. Usually it's quite hectic, but I'm going with the flow of peace.
Good. And I'm going to transfer it back and forth here.
Yeah,
Keep
right.
that going.
I'm going to do exactly the same to you. So my first question for you, Jen, is always one question I love to ask the people is when they first come on the podcast is, could you tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and how was your upbringing, and how did that influence you to be the person who you are today?
Sure. I am born and raised in Queens, New York,
Hey.
to a Thai immigrant and a Filipino immigrant mother. Queens was so special to us because it contained so many cultures. So my parents, when they came over to America, I'm so glad that they picked Queens, New York, because it's such, I hate to keep using this word, a melting pot of
Yeah.
cultures. We have over 176 languages spoken in Queens. Yeah, so I love it. And so my journey with food really started because of the location we're in. And it was part of my parents' um, kind of bonding moment. So we would go to restaurants that were like, little hole in the walls and try different vendors and go around. And even though my parents had no idea what these cuisines were about, what I appreciate from them and what I take with me today is be open. Be open to experiences, to different people, different cultures. Even if you don't understand it and can't read something or can't pronounce something. My dad, he just goes, that one, please. Let me get five pieces. They're like, yeah, okay, sure. Do you want to know what it is? No, just I just want to eat it. Whereas my mom's the more inquisitive one. She'll ask a lot of questions, and so I'm really grateful to them for that, and that really opened my world into global cuisines.
Yes.
And it helped me because I don't have professional training as a chef or as anything really.
Sometimes that's even better, Jen, because you become like creatively inspired by yourself or by what you see around you.
Yeah, and that's something that we on Just Eat Life try to share with our audience is that you don't have to have all your ducks in a row. Is that the saying? Eggs in a row? Terrible with those, but
It
you know
doesn't
what I'm
matter.
saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and so throughout my life, I've been involved in the arts. I was big on photography, and I even wanted to be a photojournalist for Nat Geo, but then life has all its curves, and I ended up in science where I met my partner Leo when we were studying in college. And then together we went on this journey of turning our hobby of filming food tutorials into our business.
See, guys, you can do anything you want to do if you just have some support and what you love to do. You find just be inspired. My next question for you, Jen, is who has been the strongest influences in your life?
Definitely my mother.
I like that.
My mother, I don't know if you're into astrology and all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
am. I'm a Capricorn, so yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
Capricorns are huge in my life. They
Oh,
ground me, give me some structure.
hey, feeling the energy.
I'm a Sagittarius.
December.
Yes.
Aha, yes,
Yep.
yes. I love that.
My mother's a Leo, so she's got that.
Your mom's got the strength.
Exactly. So she has shown me over her life that you can manage anything if you just stick to it. Stick to it, be present, don't give up. There's been so many times in my life and even in the last 5 years where we really started taking our business off and I just wanted to quit. I just thought, what's the point of hustling I don't understand it. It's not worth this mental fatigue. It's not worth all that. But then
Mm.
my mom's there like, no, you're just not working smart enough. Find
Ah,
another way. It's if this is what, and it's okay if you don't want it anymore, but I want it. So she's like, if you want something, you got to keep figuring out the solution. There's
yeah.
no use. Cry it out for a couple minutes. I'm a huge crier. I will be face down on the kitchen floor to the you're just wiping that up. And my mom, you know, throughout my whole life, she's just like, okay, cry it out for a couple minutes, that's it. I'm not going to show you pity. It's time to get moving, get up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with her, definitely. Are there any foods that you wouldn't eat as a child, but you now eat?
Oh, it's hard because since I was a child, ate everything like I do now. Except for like I was huge on veggies. I hear from friends are like, oh, I don't want any broccoli. I don't want any, and I was just like, give it to me. Put cheese on it. I'll eat all of it.
Yeah.
Cheese was the answer to everything.
Mm. I just had what did I have today? I had an omelette with cheese and we put like a bread on top.
Like
It
the
was
one where it soaks into the bread and then you.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
How was it?
It was nice. It was really nice. But I couldn't eat all of it. It was too much for me.
What's your usual breakfast like?
I don't usually eat breakfast, so it's I
So
don't
that
know.
was a lot.
Yeah, today was a lot. Definitely a lot for me. So, um, I usually have cereal. I get in trouble all the time for not eating breakfast because I suffer with my stomach quite a lot. And I decided that my partner said to me that I need to start eating breakfast a lot more.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
You're like the fourth Capricorn to say those exact sentences to me.
mhm,
To start eating breakfast.
yeah, yeah, definitely. What do you have for breakfast, Jen? So, what is your breakfast like in the morning?
I had a boiled egg and
Is that
toast.
it? That's it?
And that's not my usual breakfast, but it's like when I'm not feeling super hungry, but I just want something to sustain me until I am super hungry later. That's something that I'll have. Usually it's leftovers, whatever we
Oh,
had the day before, just like a little bit of that. Always a smoothie of
uh-huh.
whatever we have. Frozen berries. I get spinach and I just freeze it all so that it doesn't go bad. Do you ever like buy like a box of greens or
Yep,
salad mix and then it just goes to shit and you're just
yep.
can I can I curse in here? Sorry, I forgot
Of
to
course
ask
you
you.
can.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
oh, trust me, I've had some cursing.
Good. Because
Yeah,
I
I had a
have
podcast full of cursing from start to finish.
good because I have quite a mouth.
No, that's
And
fine. A good mouth is hard to find these days. So yeah.
that's what she said. um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll take the spinach, freeze it up. That's why it's easy to just drop it in the blender. Zoop, that's breakfast.
My mother always said to me, always if anything's going bad, throw it in the freezer because you can always have it another time. And I remember, I think I was watching one of your videos and you put garlic in the freezer.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you were mashing it up and stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna do that now because I love garlic in my food." And they always say it's good for the heart and it's good for the blood.
Yeah, good for circulation. My dad used to soak whole garlic cloves in vodka and take
Ooh,
take a clove and a shot of that every day.
serious?
Yeah.
And
And
how
that
was he afterwards? Was he not drunk or
he's got a liver like no one else.
Because I
Me,
know for a fact if
no.
I had that, I'd be on the floor.
Yeah, me too, crying.
Crying again.
Back there. Garlic's great. I have also a friend of ours, Elsa, she was staying with us during the early stages of
Oh,
quarantine, and she loves fermented foods. So we're so grateful to have her because we love them too. We
yeah,
did whole garlic cloves in honey, and that fermented,
that sounds nice.
and it was great. So it's like along with our vitamin, pop that in for the
That sounds
day.
nice. I remember to do that now. I definitely remember to do that.
Hmm.
What made you decide to do a YouTube channel, Jen? What made you decide to have the motivation to do a YouTube channel?
Uh, to share knowledge,
Mhm.
but more directly, it was Leo. who's my now husband, and he he's just like, you talk about food so much, and you love sharing everything. The thing with me, every time I get new information, I need to spit it back out to someone.
Yeah,
I
I
need
like
to make
that.
sure I share that knowledge.
You're
So he's
like
like,
me.
let's try it. Yeah. It's like, let's try it with video. He'd never picked up a camera before, and we just went for it as a thing to do after working on the weekends. And then seeing the response from people connecting, making new friends, hearing about their recipe adaptations, how they grew up eating this thing, made me more and more want to share what I know so that I can learn as well.
Yeah, most definitely. What would you say are your best qualities when it comes to presenting food and making food and sharing it with people so that they can learn? What would you say are your best qualities?
Um, I think what I find most successful about our content and our presentation style is the way we make things as approachable as possible.
Yeah,
So I always tell people I don't feel like I'm a master chef, and I don't feel like I'm super novice either.
yeah,
So if I can be that in between to translate some difficult technique in a way that's understandable to reach a different kind of audience who might feel intimidated with food and be like, "Oh, I can't make that shit. That's not for me. That's
yeah,
rich people stuff." Like, no, it's not. It's just good food.
yeah, I
Just
agree.
good food. And if you're fortunate to have at least some of those ingredients, here's how you can make the most wonderful thing and feel good about it.
I love that. I definitely love that. Why did you want to go into television? Because you go into television as well. What made you go into television to evolve? And you wrote this down. You wrote down hungry soul. And I underlined that in my question. So, what made you go into television and hungry soul when it comes into food and share your humor with the world? Because you do have a great sense of humor.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it was in partnership with Tastemade.
Yes.
Yes, and they were like, "Hey, we want to bring what you guys do in your studio and bring it to a different audience and in a longer format." So we're so used to doing these short form videos that are either 3 to 5 minutes or 1 minute for years. And then
Yeah.
so to take everything that I've learned along the way and translate that to like a 22-minute show
Wow.
was it was a transition. It was interesting but so fun, so much fun. And I said yes because I'm like, this is intimidating and scary, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I remember I've do you know Marie Forleo?
Yes.
Have you had a chance to read her book yet?
I haven't. No.
It's great. I recommend it. I haven't
Okay.
finished it yet, but so far
Anybody
it's
who recommends a book to me, I go out and get it.
everything is figure outable. That's
Okay.
the book.
Right. I'm on it.
And she talks about how to distinguish, how to learn to listen to your gut feeling about whether something is scary good or scary bad. Is it scary bad that I need to flee the situation, or
Yeah.
scary good that it's exciting and I'm hesitant to take the leap forward, but I'm gonna step my toe in it. And that was the feeling I got when Taste Me presented the idea to me. And so from there, I'm like, this is cool. And since then, it's been, there are waves when the show comes out, and I don't know when it's going to come out or which channel, which network. But then I'll get messages. They're like, "Hey, from Australia." I'm like, "Oh, dope! Someone in Australia is watching." I had no idea. And then they shared something with me again that they saw on the show that they grew up with, and that makes me feel so good.
Oh, see, I like when I hear stories like that. It inspires me even when I'm talking to people about it. Do you have any food quirks? Any food? Because some people, what they do is I watch how people eat. I'm a big observer of people, and sometimes when people are eating, they set their food in a certain way. They'll eat a certain food first before they eat something else. Do you have any quirks about you, the way you present food and the way you eat food?
Mm. I'd say I am a huge fan of texture. So when I'm whatever I'm eating, even if it's a simple, even if it's butter pasta, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, what crunch can I add? So I need to make sure I set up, okay, I'm gonna have something soft and creamy. I want something crisp and crunchy and sour. So I need like all those different things to offset each other, but
yeah.
also bring harmony to the whole thing because a meal without texture makes me so sad.
Oh,
Because I'm just like,
you said that.
It's like, oh, I need because I love food so much. I want to make sure
There you
that
are, texture.
this could be my last meal. I want to make sure I get all the texture in it.
I
Even
hope it's not because there's so much food out there.
yeah, there's so much. So I need to keep going. And I when I eat my food, I want to make sure that each bite has a little bit of everything.
Yep,
I
I get
Yeah, I my biggest pet peeve when cooking, and I ask Leo to come try something. I'm like, here, taste this, and so I'll have like a spoon. Let's say it's soup with a bunch of different things in it, but it's a balanced spoon bite. I'm like,
yeah.
here, take the whole spoon. He'll just go, what is that? You didn't taste anything. No, no, you got to do that again. Or like a sauce, he'll just, yeah, it's good. Like, no, you're lying. You did not taste that for me. So for me, I need to make sure everything that's going in my mouth is fun.
Oh, what one thing do you wish you had known before you started all of this? Because I remember just before you started, you spoke about your mother and you crying on the floor and stuff like that. About, you can go back and you can do it again. But is there anything that you wish you had known before you started your journey on becoming who you are today?
Something I wish I knew was how to manage a business.
That's hard. It's tough.
It's hard. It's hard when you don't have that network of people who can give you that kind of advice,
Yeah.
or yeah, or didn't go to school for that, or didn't have the money to do any of that, any training, or hire people out to do that. So for us, it was really hard to learn how to balance being creatives and being business
Yeah.
people. So now this year, uh, we've taken this time to really focus on that because we've had all these things on the back burner. We just said later, later, later. But that's what my mom calls no, 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 mañana syndrome. Don't
Yeah.
have mañana syndrome. Do it now.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing. And but I kind of wish we did it earlier because then I'd feel like, oh, we'd be in a much better financial situation now. We'd have uh, a team. We'd have a real bigger space to do our work. So
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, that's fine. It's, you didn't hit that 5 year mark that you wanted to, but that's okay. You're still here. You're still alive. Every day still, you wake up. That's an opportunity to go back on the track again,
Yeah.
reassess the situation, and keep going.
I like that. There's something that I also read on your website. There's quite a few things actually. One of the things that I feel you most probably is quite close to your heart is mental health.
Mm.
I was reading about that. And how do you feel that people respond to mental health now compared to in the past when people wasn't so aware of it, didn't have the knowledge of mental health? But also, how do you feel that we as people can help people who have mental health?
I really like that now it's more, uh, there's less stigma when discussing mental health. I
Yeah,
feel, right? If it weren't for social media, I wouldn't have learned all these terms
true.
about, right? About what's going on in the world, how we're uh, uh, internalizing everything. And for so long, I was just thinking, no, the hustler mentality. You got to just go, go, go. Sleep is for the dead, that kind of thing,
Yeah,
right? And then
yeah.
it catches up with you. It catches up. You go, oh shit, I'm
Period.
fucked. Like, this is not this is not good. Like I can't have the energy to keep going if I don't take care of everything holistically, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah,
And it's still an ongoing journey, but something that I appreciate about it being so widely discussed is that we're able to share our experiences together, learn from each other, and then have resources if you really want to seek additional help. It's there, and that's something like even now I've I get messages all the time. They're like, "You're so positive. How do you keep that? How are you so mentally healthy? How do you do that?" It's like I'm not perfect, right? We all have our ups and downs. Um, so something I can say is like I'm going off on a tangent here, but the I'm happy to say there are more good days than bad. And so whenever I'm catching up with people on the phone, like, how are you? And it's like, good, good. But sometimes you're just not. And I think we're just so used to saying, how are you? Good. Because we don't want to burden other people. But I think
Yeah,
there's a way of communicating our struggles without burdening each other and having this open dialogue. So it's really great.
yeah. I've definitely I've definitely seen a lot of change within mental health over the years. And I have a cousin who has mental health, and she inspires me because she keeps that positivity, and she said exactly the same thing you said about burdening people. She doesn't want to feel like she's burdening anyone with anything at any time. So what she does is she keeps her, I call it her happy syndrome, up so that no one can see her inside.
Ah,
Yeah, so it's in a way it teaches everyone that everyone is different. Everyone deals with things differently. So we have to be more aware of what's around us and the people around us. Another question I have for you, Jen, is what at the moment means a lot to you? What in the moment means something to you that you feel that we could change, even if it brings up uncomfortable conversation?
balance.
Okay.
Finding balance is really important to me right now for the past couple of months. I'd say that in the last 2 months, I've been really focused on learning how to be grounded, especially with everything, right? Um, and and the way I've been trying to do that is um, asserting boundaries, learning how to do, how to set up boundaries with people in my life, situations, opportunities, how to be there for myself first, and then, whatever comes along the way, I can be uh, stable enough to deal with whatever comes. So it's it's really helpful to have those uncomfortable conversations. I hate confrontation. It is,
Mm, yeah, me
yeah,
too.
but my mom is fine with it. Leo too. He like they're so good.
That's because your mum is strong. Your mum's got that strong, like, yeah, you come at me, I will fight you.
Oh yeah, she'll bite your whole head off.
Yes, she's a lion, so it
Yeah.
but you're more like you're a Sagittarius, you're like half and half.
Hmm.
I'm a goat. What can I say? I'm a goat. So I try to keep myself and people as grounded as possible to be able to connect with them and keep that energy flowing in a good way. And I'm always looking for the next mountain to climb. And whoever would like to come with me, I'm happy to bring with me too.
I'd like to come with you.
Come, come. I have a place for everybody who's positive.
Oh, I
Come,
love that.
come. Um, Here's one for you. How do you respond to people who are negative towards you?
That's a good question. Um, I guess it's also something I factor into is if I should respond.
Hmm.
So if I'm in a situation where I'm forced to, not forced to, but there, it's an in-person confrontation, or like my job, it's all online.
Yeah.
If it's constructive, it can be negative, but if it's constructive and trying to teach me something, I may take it as negative at first. It's like, oh, what are they saying? They don't know where I'm coming from. Then I have to really put on that unbiased perspective. Like, what are they trying to say? Is it coming from a place of hurt? Is it coming from a place of just hate? What is it? If it's coming from a place of hate, I don't respond. Yeah, it's not a good use of my energy. And a part of me is like, oh, well, maybe I can put some good energy. If that person's not willing to accept it, I'm going to waste my time trying to do it. If it's something we can have a conversation, and I could sense that the person might be, might have an open ear and want to hear my perspective, then I'll engage, as politely as possible. I don't, again, confrontation, not my thing. I'm not just going to be like, fuck you. There's no point, you know. Um, yeah, that's weird. But I used to take it so terribly. I used to let it affect me to the point where I'm in the kitchen floor crying. You're always coming back to that floor. But not anymore. I am happy to say that for the last 2 years at least, so much better. I'll see it and I go, and that's it.
Good.
It doesn't bother me.
Soon you'll come to an involvement within yourself and within your life where you'll see and you'll just turn the phone over.
Yeah,
That's how
that's it.
everybody has an opinion.
And they don't
Every
pay my bills.
tell me about it. I'm still trying to pay mine.
Same.
I'm just being honest here. Yep. Most definitely. How do you feel about education? In a sense where do you feel that education is enough to get you where you want to be? Or do you feel that having a talent is enough to get you where you need to be? How do you feel about education?
Mm. Education is not enough. So, and talent is not enough either. So you can, this is something Leo and I talk about a lot. You can have all the talent in the world and you could be so great and you could believe you're so great at so many things, but if you're not applying yourself, if you're not still honing in your skills and practicing and releasing them to the world in a way that's collaborative, you're not evolving, right? You're not being the best talent you can be. So it's
Yep.
never ending. You got to learn until the day you die.
Yep.
So yeah, there's no, oh, I'm 80, I know everything. No, keep going. I may say differently when I'm 80 if I get there, but you
You'll get there.
know,
You'll get
and education is so wonderful. But in my experience, and this is just for me personally, my own path, I needed. I didn't dropped out of high school. I did end up making my way back to go to college, and I did get my degree. Um, but I didn't value the experience so much. I was just, again, working how many jobs just to make it work. And then I couldn't really focus on school. But what I will say is throughout my education, from very little to college, there are those people and experiences that I do value deeply that have taught me a lot about life, aside from a curriculum, though. So without getting, that opportunity to be in that same room with them, I don't think I would have ever learned anything about the world.
How do you feel about the next generation coming in and wanting to aspire to do things like we're doing, podcasting, cooking, having our own shows? How do you feel like the next generation will evolve when it comes to doing what we're doing now?
I think this next generation is going to be very good at learning how to value themselves because for our generation, I think, and before us, it's all about you got to work for the man. And if you
Yeah,
want to work for the man, that's fine too. No judgment there if you want to work a 9 to 5. But if there's that burning fire inside you that says, I have this passion, this dream, and I gotta get to it, but I can't. The I can't is a huge thing. That's the worst word. I can't. And I say it to myself even yesterday. I had a bad day yesterday. I kept saying, you can't do this. No, Jen, come back. You can try again.
you're lucky you didn't call me yesterday. I would have told you, no, Jen. No, Jen. Yes, you can, Jen.
Yes, yes, you can. And I like that saying, whether you believe you can or you can't,
Yeah.
you're it. That's it. Um, so, what are we talking about? I didn't smoke anything this morning, I promise.
I
It's
was
just
like,
Friday.
you had some weed.
Oh, wait,
Listen,
did I answer that question?
you did answer the
Okay.
question. You know the funny thing? I forgot too.
Did you have some with your breakfast this
I don't
morning?
know. I think I may have had it in my milk or my. What did I have for breakfast again?
You had the omelet with
Yeah,
cheese,
my omelet. Maybe they put weed in my omelet and cheese.
little can of butter.
Oh, you know about it, huh? You know about it. Do you have any secret recipes that your family have ever taught you?
Nothing secret.
Whoa.
Yeah, everything I learn, I share.
Oh, see, a woman with a humble heart. See, yeah, I like that. If you didn't have any of your obstacles in your way and no one was judging you, what do you think you would be doing now? And how do you think you would be doing it?
I think I would have had most of the things on my goal list that I set up 5 years ago and have both my integrity, but my strength side by side to make the best decisions possible.
Okay.
I feel like, if I had everything possible, I'd be that go-getter. But
Yeah.
because of obstacles that are both self-made and externally, I I struggle with getting back up. So it takes me a long, I had that Sagittarius energy and I'm go, 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 and I move, move, move. But then I'm also like, oh, maybe I'm not worth it. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe this. And then it takes me days to recharge to get back up and like slap myself in the face. Bitch, no. you you got to stop. So, yeah, if I didn't have that, that's the person I'd be. Or not. Who knows?
You
Who
never
knows?
know. Life is unpredictable that way. So,
Mhm.
what is the best advice you've ever received from somebody?
Hmm.
It's a good question, huh?
I think it's that, and it's from Leo, the whether you think you can or you can't, that's
Yeah,
what you'll do.
I like
That's
that.
it, that encompasses every possible situation, and I think that's the best. So thanks, husband.
Oh, he'll listen to this. He'll definitely listen to this. If there was a banner out there, Jen, a massive banner, and I gave you a pen, what would you write on the banner?
Be good to each other and yourself.
Sounds like my saying. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Especially now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. What would you say to somebody who is trying to be a chef and doesn't have the education and is in a similar situation from where you came from and a similar background of where you came from? What advice would you give them to tell them to be positive and aspire to be who they want to be?
In order to turn on that positivity to propel you
Mhm.
into making your dreams come true in the culinary world, you have to see your options, like how available things are within reach because of the internet, because of social media. And so if you have those devices to learn those from those platforms, make that your thing. I grew up on watching Food Network and
Yep,
Julia Child and PBS, and I used to that was my learning ground. My parents taught me the techniques they knew from their countries and the recipes from their families. But then the TV was my way into like, oh, that's how the French do it. Oh, that not saying that, you know, French is the top of all cuisines because it's great, but like there's so much more to like how do I not diss French cuisine? I love it. I really do, guys. I do. But that was my way of learning through the television screen, and now we have so many other screens to take
yeah,
advantage of that. Whether it doesn't have to be food. You want to learn woodworking? That's how my husband's learning. That's how we built this set. That's how we built our careers, learning from other people and trying. It's you can't be good at something if you don't go through the 10,000 other versions of that project.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
not. Even if you're someone like me, it's like it's still not good enough. It's still
Just stop that.
it's bad, isn't it? I yeah, but I'm getting better at it, little by
Don't
little.
I'll give you a virtual hug and that positive energy because we all need it. Yeah, see it? That,
We did it. Did that reach?
yeah, we did it. Okay, let's get into music because I was pumping your soundtrack in my car.
I love that. That makes me so happy. I was envisioning too, like, oh, nice.
And I'm little, so like in my car, I have the seat all the way up and I have my seat all the way forward. I'm tiny. So
I know the thing you get in, and it's like, uh-huh. Just those adjustments.
there's even a point where I went with my partner to because we were gonna change our car to a Jeep and I couldn't reach the pedals. And the seat was all the way up and all the way in. And I was like, listen, guys, we're gonna have to do something about this because I can't reach.
Wow.
So I was in my car the other day and I was pumping your playlist. So here's my question for you, Jen.
Mhm.
If you had a playlist that represented your life, or a soundtrack, I should say, that represents your life, what soundtrack would you choose?
Um, Float On by
Ooh,
Modest Mouse.
it's a
Yeah.
good.
That's that reminder of me of like we all go through stuff and it's
Hmm.
not always a straight line and you gotta keep on going. You gotta float
See,
on.
I like it. If you were stuck on a desert island and you were allowed to take one person who could educate you and teach you, what one person would you take to have a conversation with?
Oh, Leo, 100%.
Oh, yeah, I would take my partner too.
Yeah. I mean, there are partners for a reason.
Yep,
And Leo's
yep,
someone that I'm constantly learning from, and he learns from me as well. So we could build a whole fucking mansion on an island if we wanted to. And
yeah.
fish is my number one food, so I'd be out there.
You know, my next question was, do you eat fish?
Love fish. It's my if there were no other like fish, anything raw, cooked, give it to me.
Ah,
Do you like
appa-
fish?
I only eat fish and chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through a transition in my life where I was eating meat, and all of a sudden my body started to reject it.
Mm,
I had to start listening to my body,
a
and
100%.
and in doing so, I started to eat a lot more veg, a lot more fish, as you're saying, and just I started to go more on the raw side of food than on the cooked side of food. But I still stayed connected for some reason to chicken,
Mm.
and and I eat a lot of fish. And they say apparently they say fish is good for the brain.
Yes, those omega 3s.
Yeah. So definitely, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I eat a lot of fish and
that's
you.
good. I eat a lot of fish too because of the amount of iodine in it. So I have hypothyroid, and anytime I eat a lot of cruciferous vegetables like kale, broccoli, cabbage, that could really slow down my metabolism. So in order to like balance it
Balance.
out, I need a lot of iodine, and I'll get that either supplement or through fish,
I like that.
seaweed, a lot of seaweed.
The first time I saw seaweed, I screamed. It's so funny. I was in a restaurant and I said, "No, that should be in the sea." Well, I was young.
No, was it last week?
Stop it. But now I love it, and obviously, because my partner is a chef,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
he's always giving me different types of food, different types of try this, try this. A bit similar to you when you're with your partner. Try this, and I stick my finger, and she's like, "No, try all of it."
See, there you go. That's you gotta
And
try it all.
I never understood why you guys were saying try all of it, but now I understand it when she shoves a spoon in my mouth.
She knows.
So
She knows because it's that as and I'm sure she can relate to this. When you make something, you're so excited for someone else to try it. You want them to feel that experience you just felt. So when I see Leo just go with a little tongue tip, it breaks my heart.
oh, I
Come
wish
on.
you guys could see Jen right now. It literally really did just break her heart. Aw. Jen, how would you say that you push boundaries for yourself to keep moving forward?
uh, I keep trying new experiences.
Yeah,
I have to I used to be yes, 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 yes to everything, and then
yeah,
for a period it was no, no, no to everything, and now I'm like, you need that balance of yes to propel yourself.
yeah.
So, I will admit when I don't know things, how to
Okay.
do them, whether it's a recipe, an exercise, whatever it is, and I'll go, okay, you have to learn it, stop being frustrated with yourself so that you
Yeah.
can move on. And then you'll hit another boundary, you'll hit another wall. You will constantly hit walls your entire life. And I can hear my mom, if you don't see it as a wall, you're just going to press a button and those bricks are going to come apart.
See,
Hmm.
your mom's got really good advice.
She's a special one.
Yeah, she definitely is. Define what success means to you, and because everybody has a different interpretation of what success means to them. But Jen, what does success mean to you as an individual?
For me, a successful life would have balance, harmony, financial stability. So I don't have to ever worry about that again. um, and being surrounded by good people, good friends, and good family, so that my life feels enriched with memories and connections and relationships. And doing whatever career I end up doing, whether it's continuing this or wherever I'll be in the future, if I am happy doing my job and it's benefiting not only myself but the world in some way,
Yeah,
that's full success for me.
I like that. That definitely makes sense to me. How do you see yourself? That's the next question, really. Where do you see yourself within what you do within food within the next couple years or even 12 months of what you're doing? What are your goals?
It's a goal that's ever changing, but the
Okay.
constant remains that we want to build a community
Yep.
of for people to share their experiences through food, travel, and lifestyle. I know travel's a bit iffy now, but we'll
We'll
see
get
where things. Yeah, we'll see where things go. And um, we really want to explore agriculture and
yes.
see how we can combine that with our future goals. So it's things are always changing. Like, do we want to always make videos? Do we, want to have a magazine one day? What are all these things? And so those things are always changing, but the constant thing remains that whatever it is, we want to form a good community where people
Yeah.
can share their experiences.
Yeah. See, I like that. Tell me a little bit about your food now. So we're gonna get back to your food for a second. What was your favorite show you were creating when you were making your YouTube channel? So which show is your favorite? What is your best food recipe that you've done so far?
My favorite one is one I did with my dad, which is a
Oh,
mushroom and tofu larb. It's this
yep,
larb.
yep.
Yeah, so he has this great recipe for it, and he made it vegan. He's like, "Let's try it." And I've made since then have made so many different vegan versions, and it still comes back to being great because I remember my dad. And so both the recipe coming from him and that episode in particular, he's just such a character. I wish we could have him all the time. He steals the show. Like if he lived here, I wouldn't be on camera. It'd just be all him. He's he's so great. So that's my favorite one. I always come back to it.
When was the last time you tried something new for yourself and for your show?
Um, Something new. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Been a while. It's been hmm. I'd say see when I think about it, in my head I get confused with memories because I'm I go so hard on our quality, our production quality that I'm like we have to make sure and when we film it's got to be this perfect vision in my head, which it never really comes out to, but close enough for me and I feel happy with our work. But then lately, I'm trying to get over the thing of we need all our equipment to do a video. And so now I've kind of uh, gone back to phone shooting. So I've been setting up my iPhone and just shooting from there. And so it's not new for me, but it is new in the sense that in the past 5 years, I haven't done it that way in so long. I've
Yeah.
just been, and I know how to shoot myself as well, but just having the phone gets rid of any of the pressure for me to make everything perfect, make sure my outline is all written out, make sure all of this, and I could just go with the flow. So I guess that for me is new, just letting go. We're making, just do it. And so I've been filming a lot on my phone. I haven't released a lot of the videos yet because I've just been in this like, oh, I don't know if I should put it out, but I'm getting over it. I know. It's a thing I go through of not going to my standard and it's like it doesn't matter, Jen, how did you learn up until this point with your content if you didn't put it out? And
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
so it, stay tuned next week.
okay,
A
right.
shit ton
Okay.
of stuff coming out.
All right. I'm staying tuned. Guys, tuned. When you listen to this, stay tuned, okay? It should be out by the time this comes out. So yeah.
I'll put the fire in my butt and get it out.
How do you think the world would be if there was no social media?
Oh man, I think about that all the time.
I remember when my friend used to call me on a house phone and said, meet me down the road. And I was able to meet my friend down the road in 20 minutes.
Oh, doesn't that sound amazing?
Yeah.
Like,
But now we've got mobile phones, social media. How do you think the world would be without it?
I think about whether or not it would be a good thing or a bad thing, right? Let's go through the pros and cons real quick. Pros,
Let's
the fastest, easiest way to transmit information, right? And but the con of that is all of the negativity that comes with it, right? Any pressures to be perfect online, any bad communities that you don't want to be involved in, bad news circulates much more quickly. So it's, I don't know. I think the world would be moving at a much slower pace, obviously, than it is now.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you actually. I'm just trying to think of it now myself, and I was thinking, how would the world be if we did? We wouldn't be able to do this necessarily as well if we didn't have
No, we'd have to write each other a letter and attach it in the back of a pigeon and hope it makes it across the pond and
hope.
then give you a call and
You
etc.
know, with the, you know when you used to have the cup and the thread?
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to have one of them and just hold it.
Exactly, across the Atlantic.
Mhm. Wow, that'd be some shit. Jen, when was the I love asking people this question because it tells me so much about them. When was the last time you felt totally at peace?
I I believe it was Mother's Day here, and it was around May, and I was outside with our family and our nephew, and Leo and I were sitting on the grass, and we said, you know what? There's a lot of work we have to do today, but let's just chill. We laid down in the grass, looked at the sky with our nephew, and just pointed out how many birds we could find, and it was the most perfect day. That peaceful like breeze. We're grateful for having some grass to lay on. We're grateful to have our family. So it felt really great.
I like that. Most definitely. Let me try and find another one for you. I believe that we are not defined by our job roles. I believe that we're not defined by the titles, but with the kindness within our hearts. What do you feel you are defined by as an individual?
My empathy, definitely. And I think that lends to why I'm often crying on the kitchen floor. Because
Probably be next to you saying, "Girl, it's okay. You'll go back. You'll be okay. Just keep going.
yeah,
We'll mop this up later. Don't worry about it."
exactly. And I'm that for people too. So I have to remember to do that for myself because we're often your friends are really good at giving advice but not taking it themselves, and bless the people who can because they've got that mental strength, and so working up to that. But I feel that my because I don't put up a lot of walls instantly when I meet someone, I try to be as open as possible so that we can, when you meet someone, the first question is, oh, what do you do? And I hate that, right? Or in the social media world, when you meet influencers, what are your numbers? And I go, nope, you're not for me. I'm gonna
Yeah, anybody who asks me that question doesn't come on the show.
good. It doesn't. Why does it matter? It does not matter. And so if I meet a person like that in person, I go, "Nice to meet you. I gotta." Someone called my name. I gotta go over there. Peace out. Yeah, because that instantly sets up uh, a uncomfortable situation. Because then you're not your authentic self. They're not their authentic self. That's a useless conversation.
Yeah.
It's just not.
I remember when I started this, people were asking me my numbers, and I think it was from an ego perspective that they were asking my numbers. That didn't resonate with me, and like you said, I couldn't be my authentic self. I felt like I was putting myself down because I was making them feel like they were higher than me. We've all gone through this. I'm sure we all have in some kind of way. So then my wife turned around to me and she said, no one is better than you are no better than nobody, and nobody is better than you. And when she said that to me, it resonated with me. I was upset for a little while, but I got over it and I kind of pushed myself forward. And then I made a note to myself saying, anybody who ever asks me about numbers or who have I interviewed, they're not allowed on the show
I love
because the show is about helping people and people talking about themselves and me being able to help you, let people know who you are as a person, not just as your title of what you do, but as an authentic person of who you are. So I always try to keep that in my heart, but it gets hard sometimes.
It does. And I really appreciate you standing by that because this helps each other. We're helping each other. It's not one's better. There's no such thing. Eh,
Most definitely.
yeah. And so if you listening, someone out here is all about, oh, we got to hit those numbers and I'm not going to do this if they don't have these numbers, check yourself.
In the mirror.
hmm that you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, most definitely.
hmm
How do you stay emotionally attached to what you love doing every day in your life, especially when you're feeling uninspired when it comes to because you're constantly having to create new content for what you do, new recipes, for yourself and for people. How do you motivate yourself to constantly do that within your passion? And how do you connect yourself emotionally to that?
It always comes back to community. So
Mhm.
with everything I'm creating, I keep community in mind. If the only way I feel that I can feel that connection with what I create, whether it's food or a craft or anything, I have to make sure that I'm happy with it. It came from a place of joy. And sometimes recipes come up from a place of sorrow, right? But always turning it so that someone else can enjoy it. So if I know that I can create something and someone can enjoy it in one way or another, whether or not they're going to make the recipe, if they just want to see the video and have a good time, that's enough for me. That's what I will say is enough. When I say a lot of things aren't enough, but that is enough for me. And so as long as I have that connection with others, my emotional connection with my craft will always be there.
What do you want your legacy to be? What would you like your legacy to be, I should say?
It's interesting because that's something that we're trying to draft up now. And not in terms
Okay.
of like, this is what the legacy 100% has to be, but what is it that we want to leave? When our
Yes.
bodies are gone, what will remain is that thing of being good to each other and ourselves, right?
Yep.
And that goes back to us learning about agriculture and how we can combine that with our uh, video content. How can we grow that into something that's going to inspire people to carry that on? Because food sourcing is so important now more than ever. And so
Yeah.
having that food security from good whole food, I think is going to be really important to our story.
Yeah. What advice would you give to people who are, I know we spoke a little bit about it before, where people are in a bad place, but people who are in a good place, for instance, and are on the route to their success, whatever they define success to be, what advice would you continue to give them and support for them to be able to keep on going? What would you tell them to be the next step to achieving their goals in going into food? Because the food industry is massive. It's a massive industry to get into. But who were your idols and people? I know you said your father, your mother are your idols too. Your husband is your idol also. But are there any other people that you feel you admire, who you feel that you could give advice to people about telling them to keep going in whatever they want to do in life?
Something I remind myself of is every person I've ever interviewed for a video or some sort of collaboration, let's say in the restaurant fields, right? As one part of the food world. Every chef and restaurant owner that we've ever collaborated with, what I always learned from them is that they had one idea and it turned out to be this. And then they currently have this restaurant or this project, but they're looking now for something else. So as long as you're being open to being fluid, being open to experiences, like we said before, that having that rigid structure won't let you expand, won't let you grow and see what possible paths are laid out in front of you. If you want that one thing, honey, do it. But if at that point you've already done it and you feel like there's something else missing, what else can I do? Keep going that way. That's a sign that you still have this fire in you that you need to keep lighting. And so, no matter what your goal is, know that it's going to transform. Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, but it's going to transform. And so, if you're allowing yourself to be fluid with that transformation, I think that's the key, and that's what I'm telling myself.
See, I like that. On that note, I have one more question for Jen. And my last question is, which I always ask is, Jen, where can we find you on all your social medias so that if anybody else would like to get in contact with you, like I did, and I'm humbled to have you on the show, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm at JustEatLife. On YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, Just Eat Life TV. Our email is in my Instagram at info@JustEatLife. So there it is. That's where you could find me. You could see me all over Tastemade, and sometimes I pop up in places I don't even know. So
Never a bad thing. Never a bad thing, Jen. Jen, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Us People podcast and being such a humble guest. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember you can subscribe to Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Us People podcast by simply going on the Savvy Rocks website or just typing in paypal.me/Us People podcast. Thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Well, good, Jen.
Yay! Can I say your voice is so perfect for podcasts?
Oh, thank you.
It's so calming.
Oh, that went right through me when you said that.
I'm serious, like perfection. It's so calming, so relaxing. I could listen to you forever.